When you tell someone, "You don't owe me closeness, I just wish you peace," you're doing something rare in today's emotional tug of war. You're stepping away from the chase without bitterness, without trying to win them back through guilt or silence. And that kind of energy, that calm detachment, hits an avoidant differently. Avoidants often fear that intimacy comes with expectations they can't meet. When you stop chasing and still wish them well, you take away the pressure that keeps them running. They start to see that maybe you weren't trying to control them after all. You were just trying to connect. That quiet realization begins to soften the walls they built so carefully. Avoidants don't want to feel owned, obligated, or indebted to someone else's emotions. Their instinct is to protect their autonomy because closeness has often felt like danger, not comfort. But when you release them with kindness, you disarm that fear. The message, "I wish you peace," isn't about indifference. It's about emotional maturity. It tells them that you respect their need for space and that your care doesn't come with strings attached. Deep down, that's what they crave. Connection that feels safe, not smothering. They may not admit it, but being seen without being demanded is something that stays with them long after you've gone quiet. What makes this phrase powerful isn't just the words, it's the energy behind them. Avoidants are incredibly perceptive to tone, body language, and intention. When you say, "You don't owe me closeness," and you mean it, they feel the shift. They sense that your peace isn't a tactic to make them miss you, but a truth you've earned through acceptance. That's when curiosity begins to replace avoidance. They start wondering what changed. They feel something different in you, a kind of grounded strength they can't find in people who keep chasing. And ironically, it's that peace that makes them want to step closer. Many people think detachment means walking away cold, but emotional detachment doesn't have to be empty. It can be compassionate. It's saying, "I care, but I'm not clinging." Avoidants often test boundaries without meaning to. They push just to see if you'll break. When you don't, when you hold your ground with grace, you show them that love can exist without control. That's the kind of emotional safety they secretly wish they'd known sooner. And it's the kind that makes your presence unforgettable, even when you're silent. Your calm becomes louder than any argument could ever be. There's something deeply human about wanting someone to stay, yet choosing not to force them. That choice speaks volumes about self-worth and emotional intelligence. Avoidants don't respond to demands. They respond to dignity. When you wish them peace, it's like handing them freedom and trust at the same time. They might not rush back or even acknowledge it, but they feel it. Over time, they realize that peace from you felt different than silence from anyone else. It wasn't rejection, it was release. And release, when done with grace, has a strange way of drawing people home. So, when you reach that point where you're done chasing, remember this isn't about manipulation, it's about truth. You're not saying, "I don't care." You're saying, "I care enough not to chase you." That message lands in the quiet corners of their heart, the ones they try so hard to hide. Because behind all that avoidance is a fear of being consumed, and behind your peace is proof that love doesn't have to consume to be real. And that, more than anything, is what they secretly wish someone would finally understand. When you say, "I'm not waiting, I'm growing," you're sending one of the most powerful messages an avoidant could ever hear. It tells them that your world doesn't revolve around their approval or attention. You're not sitting in emotional limbo hoping they change. You're using the space to evolve. Avoidants often pull away because they fear being someone's entire emotional anchor, terrified that intimacy will mean losing their independence. But when you stop chasing and start focusing on your growth, it removes that weight from their shoulders. It changes the energy between you from need to self-respect. And that shift, though quiet, is magnetic to someone who runs from pressure. Avoidants crave freedom more than anything, but they're also drawn to strength. When they see that you're not using their absence as a punishment but as motivation, it rewires how they view you. Suddenly, you're not a pursuer. They can't categorize you as someone who will lose themselves for them. You've become something different, grounded, centered, whole. That transformation gets their attention because deep down, avoidants long for someone who won't disappear inside the relationship. They want connection, but with someone who can stand tall beside them, not cling underneath them. Your growth becomes proof that you're capable of loving without losing yourself. There's a deep emotional truth in showing that healing doesn't need an audience. Avoidants notice energy shifts even if they don't speak on them. When they sense that you're at peace with the distance, that your focus is on becoming better, not bitter, they start to feel safe again. Your growth removes the emotional urgency that once scared them. It tells them, you can take your space and I'll still be okay. That sense of stability is foreign to them because they've often only experienced relationships filled with emotional demands. So when you show them you can love and let go, it becomes something they can finally trust. Growth is louder than words, and avoidants listen through observation, not conversation. They notice the change in your energy before you even speak. They see it in the way you no longer seek reassurance, in how your tone becomes calmer, your boundaries clearer. That quiet confidence speaks directly to their subconscious fears. It tells them that love doesn't have to mean dependence. It reminds them that connection can exist between two whole people, not two halves trying to fill each other. And that realization, though it might take time, awakens something new in them: respect. When you grow instead of wait, you break the pattern that once kept them distant. You're no longer reinforcing their belief that love equals pressure or control. You're showing them what emotional freedom looks like, and it makes them reevaluate everything they thought they knew. They begin to see that your attention wasn't desperation, it was genuine care. And when you pull back with grace instead of resentment, you become a mirror that reflects both peace and power. That balance is what avoidants find irresistible but can rarely explain. It's what draws them back, even when they told themselves they were done. So when you stop waiting and start growing, understand that this isn't just about moving on. It's about transformation. You're not proving a point. You're reclaiming your emotional independence. Avoidance might not say it out loud, but seeing someone evolve without resentment is deeply attractive to them. It shows emotional safety, self-assurance, and quiet strength, all things they crave but fear at the same time. Growth is what replaces the chase, and your evolution becomes the one thing they never expected: a calm that feels like home, and a love that doesn't need to chase to be real. When you say, I understand you needed distance, you're speaking directly to the part of an avoidant that rarely feels seen. Most of their life, they've been misunderstood, called cold, detached, or unemotional, when in truth, they're simply protecting themselves from being overwhelmed. So when you stop chasing and offer understanding instead of resentment, it disarms them in a way they never expect. Avoidants aren't used to hearing compassion in moments of separation. They're used to conflict or guilt. Your understanding becomes the opposite of what they're bracing for, and that's why it reaches them. It tells them you see their space not as rejection, but as regulation. And that subtle acknowledgement shifts everything. Avoidants often retreat because closeness feels unsafe, not because they don't care. When someone gets too close too fast, it triggers memories of being emotionally smothered or judged.